How's it going, everyone? This is Z Hidalgo Kids with Upland Central. Just wanted to give you a video on my perspective of the CryptoKitties Angel Island event that just went down a couple days ago. So as you see here, I looked at the properties that were unlocked or developed to show on the island, and all of them were currently unavailable or not available. They were all around 500 up squared size per property, and these were pretty much unique properties because they are currently on that island. So what the event we had before was this CryptoKitties retirement event, where of sending your CryptoKitties to the island, that island will host all those donated CryptoKitties, I believe, for life. How you participated was you bought a CryptoKitty, sent it to an address, filled out another form with your Explorer name, and the team logged it in and was able to categorize and list who participated in the event. After the event was done, the Upland team posted that there will be 4 parcels available on Angel Island at 7 a.m. Pacific time. As you can see, I was checking on Google, making sure that I'd be ready for the event. I used Google Pacific time just to make sure that I am not screwing up the time frame for myself. And then they also created these wallpapers that you could use or that you can have with the donated CryptoKitties. So what I did was just scoped out and try to get ready for that event. So once 7 o'clock started, hopefully my block explorer was either on the island or around the properties. My goal was to jump from my property in Aquatic Park, Fort Mason area, to be in that area before the event started. Unfortunately, you could see after multiple failed attempts, my Explorer just went up and around and back into San Francisco. So it's very difficult to try to get your Explorer down that channel to try to get your Explorer up there. Now, as the event was about to start, I kept checking the times and just checking to see who was actually up there already to be ready to jump if someone were to be over the properties. So we see a couple directors that were actually there on the island. I zoomed out in my browser just so I could get a wider view of who was on the island or around the properties, and I just see a few Uplanders. There was a couple directors, but they weren't going into the path of the properties. I just made sure to keep checking the properties to see that they're currently not available, but once it hit 7 a.m. they became available. I constantly refreshed my browser just to make sure that I'm synced up with the time frame, and once the event started that I'll be ready to jump if someone were to buy a property. So I would check all the different explorers that were around there, and the properties over and over. I'm sure multiple explorers did the same exact thing. I know a few let me know that they were just watching their screen, just being ready to jump at any time, just because any of the explorers that were there already had the opportunity to buy these properties. And once 7 o'clock hit, there you go. You see that the properties turned from not available or unavailable to purchasable if you were on the island or if it was in your block explorer's range. So what I tried to do was to buy more UPIX so I could be ready for the opportunity to buy some of these properties. So I logged into my PayPal and I was able to click agree to the price, but when it tried to sync with Upland, my busy signal just kept going over and over, and eventually it became an error. I did it a few more times and I still had the same result, and so I posted it into the Discord page saying that there was an issue with payments. At the same time, Laz and the dev team let everyone know that there was an issue and that they're looking into it, and it wasn't just payments, it was actually explorers trying to be sent somewhere or people trying to do treasure hunts. So it was a full systematic problem, which the team identified right away so that they could try to fix it and get back to the event. After that, I just kept checking the time, just kept checking the properties to see if there are still mintable, and also just check every single explorer that crossed that path. So if someone were to have bought it earlier, we would have jumped. And I'm not just talking about myself. I know there was multiple people watching each explorer that was either on island or crossing over. We weren't too worried about some of the visitors or Uplanders that had less than 100,000, because these properties were about 135k. So if they were 100k and under, it'd be very surprising. But there are also explorers who actually do spend a lot once they're comfortable with the game and knows what the game has to offer, or if they have their own game plan that they really want a property. So while waiting, I just panned around in street view on each property just to take a look at what each property had, or the view it had in real life. And from here I just kept looking and fast forwarded some of my video clips of who was drifting by, and then we see Crysticles, who is floating on by. Shout out to Upland.guru. If you don't know that website, take a look at it. It has a lot of information from the UCN members, hosted by TML. The link is in the description, so check it out. Also, they have about 50 plus CryptoKitties that are up there with that Upland.guru. We do have a few Upland Central. There are 5 of them. If you could screenshot all 5 and message us on Discord with all those screenshots, then we'll give you a prize. If you're on Telegram, you read about this situation where Crysticles was roaming through the properties, and unfortunately he was unable to purchase one of the properties because of the issues that were previously discussed. So this was handled by the Upland team with him, and they were able to work something out. And at the same time, there are a few more Uplanders that were crossing the path of the properties, and what the dev team decided to do was to take off the properties for sale and go into maintenance mode to see if they could fix the issues that were plaguing Uplanders. But the dev team was able to fix the problem and get the Upland game back up and running. To my surprise, when I woke up, the properties were still unminted, and Brett's Explorer was floating on by the properties. Unfortunately, I'm not sure he was on, so he didn't buy the property. My explorer, on the other hand, decided to go into Angel Island and then take a quick dip back out into San Francisco. So I'm going to speed this up, but a few more players or directors were around that area as well. So Hodler was able to get by the area, but he wasn't on. One King was around that area as well. But unfortunately, he wasn't able to purchase. And then Mr. Monopoly was floating on by, and then this time I'll just let it play on real time to see what happened while he was deciding on to buy the properties or how to handle the properties. What I did was I just kept on clicking on the properties, hoping it would be minted so that I could send my explorer. I just kept clicking the property because you never know what was going through Mr. Monopoly's head, or if his plan was to wait till he had all the properties in view to try to scoop up more than one. But I think he knew that there are a lot of us that were waiting for him to buy so that we could jump to the property to try to buy the other ones. What I did was I refreshed my browser just so I could make sure I'm in sync with when a purchase would have occurred. So I kept clicking again, making sure that it wasn't minted, and just kept clicking to see if that property became minted. After a few times of clicking the property, I think the 5th time, boom, the property became minted. I sent my explorer right away, and I'm sure a few others did. That's why there's a little lag. And when I got there, there were 2 properties ready to be minted. I went for the first one. Oops, looks like someone was trying to buy it. So I went to the one community and I was able to click buy, and minted it. Unfortunately for the others that you'll see here, they may have either jumped just a fraction second too late, and I was able to get there that much quicker. But you could see all these directors that came on at the same time that Mr. Monopoly was buying that first one. So even Mr. Monopoly said himself that once he bought it and it was going through the "you are the owner" phase, the other properties were basically taken up and were minted by other explorers. So shout out to Mr. Monopoly for minting that first one. Thanks for helping me get my property. Also congrats to I believe either Nitren or Nitren. Congrats to you. And I believe that 4th one was saved for Christicles, who was unfortunately unable to buy his property while he was floating on by. But as you saw there, how quick everyone jumped to that property. If there are other events where there are a challenge that if you're the first one there, you are the ladder to get other people to that area, well, first off, thank you. And then it's a mad dash to try to get to mint those properties. You could see here all these directors that unfortunately weren't able to buy, but they were ready and willing to get those properties as soon as someone minted the first one. Shout out to these fine directors: Brett Gerber, Galby, the Lou Daddy, Hodler, nice to meet ya, thank me later, Chonya, and again, congrats to Nitren and Mr. Monopoly on picking up the other properties. Also, congrats to Christicles. Unfortunately for him and for One King, there were some technical issues, but hopefully it gets worked out with the dev team. So again, you could see how competitive these live events are, and how dedicated some of these players are for unique properties like this one on Angel Island. Fortunately, I was able to get one. I have big plans for it. We'll see what happens and what the properties have in store. But I was glad to get this piece of history and be able to hold it in my portfolio. We'll see what happens during property development and what traits and items we're able to provide on those properties. This was a great event. Thank you to the dev team. Unfortunately, there was a little hiccup, but glad they're very responsive. They were keeping us aware of what was going on, and we're glad that the team is braving this new frontier of blockchain gaming so that we could all experience it together. I know there will be some issues here and there, but overall the game has been pretty fantastic with all the updates and all the things to come. We are excited to see what happens, and this event just culminates a lot of the things that they're working hard for so that we can enjoy this game. As a reminder, all our videos, once they hit 25 likes, we'll do a raffle for a free property upgrade, or if you're a visitor, we will help you become an Uplander by visiting your property. And make sure you comment with your Explorer name so you could get entered into that raffle. Let us know in the comments down below if there is anything you want us to cover on the Upland game, and also what you thought about this event. As a disclaimer, Upland Central is a community group of gamers. Our opinions are our own and not part of the Upland.me team. But starting on the 1st of July, Upland Central will be part of the UCN, the Upland Contributor Network, where we will provide content for the community so that we can continue to grow the community, and also provide unique things that only our contributor network can provide. Again, this is Z Hidalgo Kids with Upland Central. Hope you all have a great day. Bye.